I never thought I'd watch my own bloodkin auction off my soul for a stack of student loans, but there I was, hidden in the shadows of that godforsaken conference room, heart pounding like a diesel engine in a storm, as my father shook hands with the devil I'd invited myself. "Sold," he said, his voice cracking like old oak under the weight of his greed, sealing the deal that would fund my sister's ivory tower dreams while gutting the only empire I'd ever built from salt and sweat. And the kicker? They had no clue I was the ghost pulling the strings, the silent majority shareholder in the very conglomerate snapping up my legacy like chum to a shark. It started 6 months earlier, back when the rain in Seattle still felt like a lover's tease instead of a funeral dirge. I'm Brinley Harlan, 34, born and bred on the docks of Elliott Bay, where the air smells like diesel and desperation. My family ran Harlan Fisheries since my great-grandpa dragged his first net through those murky waters in 1923. Dad took over in the 80s, turned it into a mid-tier operation, salmon runs, crab pots, a fleet of 6 boats that kept the lights on in our cramped queen and row house. But Dad was a dreamer with a gambler's itch. He chased bad deals like a dog after tail, and by the time I was 20, the books were bleeding red. I stepped in at 22, fresh out of community college with a business cert that smelled more like fish guts than fortune. Dropped the spreadsheets on his desk one night after a double shift, said, "This stops now, or we're all swimming upstream." He laughed, called me his little captain, but I wasn't joking. I clawed that company back from the brink, renegotiated loans with a bank, poached talent from the big boys up in Alaska, even pivoted to sustainable quotas when the eco-regs hit like a nor'easter. By 30, Harlan Fisheries wasn't just afloat. It was a predator, netting $12 million a year, with me as the invisible hand steering the wheel. They never saw it. To them, I was still Brinley the tomboy, the one who skipped prom to mend nets, the spinster sister in oilskins and work boots while my little sib, Cassidy, flitted through life like a goddamn butterfly. Cass was the golden child, 18 months younger, with mom's porcelain skin and dad's silver tongue. She breezed through UW on scholarships and daddy's blind spots, double majoring in poli-sci and gender studies, protesting pipelines one day and interning at the mayor's office the next. "She's gonna change the world." Mom would coo over pot roast, while I scrubbed brine from my cuticles and bit my tongue till it bled. The secret? I'd been shouldering their sins since I was 16. That summer, Dad got sloppy, falsified catch logs to skirt quotas, stuffed the books with ghost hauls to qualify for a federal grant. EPA sniffed it out, but instead of ratting him, I took the fall. Forged my signature on the reports, pled guilty to the misdemeanor, paid the $50,000 fine from my own pocket after scraping every cent from summer jobs and side gigs. "Family first," he whispered when the judge slapped the probation on me, his eyes wet with what I mistook for gratitude. Cass knew. She'd overheard the whole thing, wide-eyed in the hallway, but she zipped it like a pro. Mom never found out. Dad promised to make it right, swore on his lifeboat Bible that I'd inherit the keys. Lies. All of it, rotten as week-old herring. It unraveled the night Cass dropped her bomb over Christmas Eve cioppino, my recipe, slaved over for hours while she scrolled TikTok. "Harvard's waitlisted me for their PhD in public policy," she announced, fork poised like a scepter. "Full rides off the table. I need $180,000 for the first 2 years. Loans won't cut it. Too much debt for a trailblazer like me." The room went still, except for the tick of Grandma's cuckoo clock. Dad's face crumpled like wet newsprint. Mom's hand flew to her pearls. "Me?" I just stirred the pot, steam rising like the bile in my throat. "We'll figure it," Dad muttered, but his eyes slid to me, then away. Cass beamed, oblivious or maybe not. Hard to tell with her. Always playing the ingenue. By New Year's, the whisper started. "Brinley's got the business humming. She doesn't need the payout like Cass does." I caught them in the kitchen one dawn, voices low over coffee. "It's her legacy, but legacies adapt. Sell to Apex Marine. They're offering top dollar. Cassie's future's the real inheritance." Apex Marine. The name hit like a gut hook. I'd been tracking them for years, vulture capitalists out of San Francisco, swallowing small fleets whole, stripping them for parts, spitting out the bones. Their CEO, Victor Lang, was a snake in Armani, ex-Wall Street, rumored to have tanked 3 startups before pivoting to seafood. I'd quietly bought into their parent company, Blue Horizon Holdings, 2 years back, funneled $2 million from a side hustle in oyster farms into Shellcore, stacking shares until I held 51%. Not for glory, for insurance. If Dad ever pulled stupid, I'd have leverage. Turns out, fate's a cruel angler. I didn't confront them. Confrontations for suckers who lose. Instead, I played dead fish, nodding along as the real estate agents toured the docks as Cass gushed about Cambridge cobblestones. In my off hours, stolen between hauls, I greased the wheels. Emailed Lang anonymously from a burner. Harlan's ripe. Push the offer to $15 mil. They're desperate. He bit hard. Board meetings blurred into late nights at my cramped apartment overlooking the Sound, laptop glowing as I scripted the downfall. Hired a PI to dig dirt. Lang's affairs. Apex's EPA violations. Cass's old sorority scandals. Ammo, all of it. The signing was set for a gray April afternoon at Apex's Seattle outpost, a glass tomb in Pioneer Square. I slipped in early, disguised in a courier's vest, clipboard in hand. Heart hammering, I stashed myself in the AV closet, feed from the hidden cam piping to my phone. There they were, Dad in his ill-fitting blazer, Mom dabbing her eyes with a monogrammed hanky, Cass scrolling Instagram like it was her coronation. Lang swept in, all teeth and tailored menace, contract thick as a Bible. Harlan Fisheries, a crown jewel, he purred, pen gliding like a knife. Dad hesitated, just a flicker, enough to make me wonder if regret had teeth. Then Cass squeezed his arm. For me, Daddy. For the movement.
He signed.
Mom sobbed softly.
Lang's smile widened. Predatory.
Pleasure doing business. We'll rebrand quick. Efficiencies demand it. They filed out, chattering about grad school brunches, oblivious to the storm cloud named Brinley brewing. I waited till the lot cleared, then strode into Lang's office like I owned the joint, which, technically, I did. Victor, I said, dropping the courier act, voice steady as a plumb line. He looked up, brow furrowing. Brinley Harlan, you just bought my company. Confusion, then recognition slow, like dawn over the bay. I slid a folder across his desk, my shareholder docs, notarized, ironclad. Blue Horizon's majority owner. Harlan's not sold. It's nested. You report to me now. His face drained of color, that shark grin twisting into something feral. This is leverage, I continued, leaning in, the scent of his cologne turning my stomach. Shut down the docks. Pink slip the crew, my crew, and funnel the profits back to me. Or, I leak your little Ponzi with the crab quotas. Your call. He laughed, but it was hollow, a bluff from a man who'd just been filleted. Blackmail's a felony, sweetheart. So's fraud, I shot back. But we both know you play dirtier. We dickered for an hour, me demanding veto on all Harlan ops, him squirming for outs. By dusk, he caved. Apex acquired Harlan, all right. On paper. In truth, it was my Trojan horse crew intact, boats running hot under my ghost command. Revenge tasted like copper at first, sharp, metallic. I started small, rerouted Cass's welcome stipend from the sale proceeds straight to my offshore. Watched her crowdfund on GoFundMe, posts laced with performative poverty. Patriarchy tried to clip my wings, help this queer activist soar. Donations trickled. She blamed the algorithm. Dad called me that week, voice thick. Biz is in new hands, Bryn. Time to move on. I feigned heartbreak, hung up, then texted Lang. Fire the middle manager Dad installed as consultant. Gone by morning. The tension coiled like monofilament under strain. Mom sensed the rift, invited me for family dinner, her lasagna a piece offering laced with guilt. I went, steeling myself in the rear view. Cass dominated, regaling us with Harvard hypotheticals, intersectional feminism theses, TEDx dreams. Brinley, you'd love the coastal elite vibe, she said, syrupy. I smiled, fork scraping china. Sounds peachy. Speaking of, how's the funding hunt? Her laugh tinkled like breaking ice. Slow, but solidarity's building. Under the table, my phone buzzed. Lang's confirmation. Harlan's first efficiency cut. Dad's old cronies, the ones who'd covered his ass in the quota scandal. Loyalists to me now, whispering dockside intel. I excused myself to the porch, rain pattering on the awning, and dialed my PI. Dig deeper on Cass. Sorority days. The report landed at midnight. Hazing cover-up, her as ringleader. A pledges breakdown hushed with Daddy's checkbook. The crime I'd borne? Echoes of it. She'd learned from the best. May brought the storm. Apex announced the merger. Press release touting synergies. Local news ate it up. Harlan Fisheries saved from obscurity. Dad preened in a soundbite, arm around Cass. I watched from a dive bar in Belltown, nursing a Pike IPA, as the comments rolled in, betrayal veiled as progress. That night, I pulled the first real trigger. Emailed EPA tips from an anon account, Apex's logs, fudged hulls mirroring Dad's old sins. Feds swarmed the docks by dawn. Lang called, apoplectic. You bitch. This torpedoes the quarter. Collateral, I said coolly. Call off the layoffs, or next it's your board. He complied, but the cracks spiderwebbed. Cass's loans defaulted. She stormed home midsummer. Ivy dreams deferred. It's sabotage, she wailed to Mom, who shot me accusatory glances over breakfast. Dad confronted me at the old bait shop, fists clenched. You stirring shit, Bryn? For spite. I met his eyes, unflinching. Spite? You sold my blood for her books. This is justice. He deflated, old man in the shell of a captain. It was for family. Family, I spat, is what I built while you chased ghosts. And Cass? She knew about the quotas. Watched me fry for it. His face crumpled. Truth's a heavy anchor. But mercy's for Marks. I walked out, leaving him to the gulls. The climax brewed in August, heat wave turning the sound to soup. Lang, cornered rat, tried a counterplay, leaked my shareholder docs to the press, painting me as the vengeful ex-employee puppeteering the sale. Reporters swarmed my door, mics thrust like harpoons. Miss Harlan, is this sour grapes? One sneered. I faced them down, no script, just fire. Sour? Try stolen legacy. My family hawked my company for a PhD, that ain't happening. Apex thought they bought a bargain. Turns out, the house always wins. The twist hit like a rogue wave. Buried in the fallout, my PI unearthed the bomb. DNA test from Cass's freshman year, prompted by a health scare. Results sealed in Dad's safe. I'm not Harlan blood. Adopted at birth, hushed to keep the peace, because Mom miscarried the real Brinley, and I was the convenient swap from a teen mom scandal. Cass knew, stumbled on it during a family purge, used it as her ace, whispering to Dad that exposing me would ruin us all. The betrayal? Deeper than docs. I'd shouldered their crimes not as kin, but as convenient camouflage. The quota fall? Her idea, testing loyalty, with me as the patsy. Rage crested. I stormed the row house that night, thunder rumbling offshore. They were gathered, Dad nursing scotch, Mom wringing hands, Cass on her phone, defiant. We're done, I said, slamming the adoption papers on the coffee table. Gasps, denials, then silence thick as fog. Cass's eyes narrowed. You were always the placeholder. We elevated you. Elevated. The word ignited something primal. I didn't swing. Words were my harpoon. Placeholder? I rebuilt what your father's lies nearly drowned. Took the rap for quotas you greenlit, Cass. Your little power play to see if I'd break.
She blanched.
Mom whimpered. Dad rose, trembling. We can fix. No. I cut him. Apex folds tomorrow.
My call.
Harlan Fisheries? Reverts to me, sole proprietor. You'll get nothing. Not a pension, not a plot in the family crypt. Lang's resignation letter hit inboxes at dawn, coerced, of course, with my dirt dossier as chaser. Feds cleared Harlan on technicalities I'd greased. Apex imploded in scandal, shares tanking. Cass slumped back to Seattle, waitressing at a vegan joint, her manifestos reduced to bar rants. Dad? He took a trawler out solo one dawn, vanished in the shipping lanes. Body never surfaced, accident or apology, who knows. Mom, aged a decade overnight, calls me weekly, voice a ghost. Come home, Brinley. Home. The word's a hook now. As for me, I run Harlan from a waterfront loft, fleet expanded, quotas green as the activists Cass once aped. Victory's bittersweet, Pyrrhic, some might say. Was it justice? Or just another Harlan hustle? Readers, you tell me, family worth more than fish, or blood's just another commodity in the market? The bay whispers no answers, only waves. The aftermath clung like diesel smoke, acrid and inescapable. Weeks blurred into a haze of boardroom battles and bar tabs, my reflection in the marina's plate glass showing a woman sharpened to a blade, eyes hollowed by sleepless audits, jaw set like the pilings I'd hammered myself. Harlan Fisheries hummed under my thumb now, but the victory lap felt more like a dirge. I'd gutted the beast, sure, but in the process, carved out chunks of my own hide. Cass's silence was the loudest. Radio static after the blow-up, her socials gone dark. Last post a cryptic quote from Audre Lorde. The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house. Irony, thy name is sister. I dove deeper into the ledgers that fall, unearthing more rot. Dad's retirement fund. A slush of kickbacks from Apex Scouts, funneled through Cass's campaign pack, her activist front for grad school schmoozing. She played the long game, positioning herself as the ethical heir while I mucked the holds. The PI's final dossier landed like a depth charge, emails from her to Lang, pre-sale, dangling insider tips on Harlan's weak spots. Brinley's the weak link, emotional, attached. Push her buttons, she'll fold. Emotional.
Attached.
Code for disposable. Rage simmered to strategy. I could have gone nuclear. FBI tips on the insider trading, watch her perp walk in Lululemon, but that was too clean, too quick. Revenge, real American vintage, needs theater, slow burn, spotlit sins, audience gasping in the dark. So I scripted Act 2, the Harlan Renaissance Tour. Announced it with fanfare. A legacy revival, gala at the docks, black tie amid the brine, inviting the who's who of Seattle seafood, suppliers, Pauls, even a Food Network scout sniffing for a docuseries. Press release spun gold. From near ruin to resurgence, Brinley Harlan reclaims family empire. The night crackled with salt air and string lights, crab boils steaming under industrial heaters, a bluegrass band fiddling sea shanties with a hipster twist. I worked the crowd in a tailored peacoat over silk. Femme fatale meets Fisher Queen, handshakes firm, laughs laced with barbs. Mayor's aide cornered me by the oyster bar. Heard about the family drama. Tough break. I clinked glasses. Drama? Nah, just Darwin. Weak link snap. Whispers rippled. By dessert, half the room buzzed with my tale. The prodigal daughter, screwed by kin, rising phoenix style. Cass crashed it uninvited, slipping through the gate like a shadow in skinny jeans and a thrifted blazer, hair in a messy bun that screamed, starving artist chic. She beelined for me, champagne flute trembling. This your victory lap? Parading our shit show? Up close, she looked frayed, dark circles, nails bitten to nubs. Part of me pitted the wreck. The rest? Exhilarated. Harlan's mine now. You sold your share for Cambridge croissants. Her lip curled, that sorority sneer. You think you're the hero? You're just the landlord's muscle, evicting the dreamers. Dreamers. Plural. I glanced past her. Mom hovered by the punch bowl. Dad's absence a ghost at her elbow. Dreams built on lies don't float, Cass. Like that pack of yours, laundering Apex hush money? Classy. Her eyes widened, flute shattering on the planked deck. Heads turned. I played concerned sis, arm around her shoulders as security, escorted her out. Family spat. I murmured to the gawkers. Happens when the truth hauls anchor. The fallout fed the fire. Morning headlines. Harlan heiress heist. Sibling sabotage at seafood soiree. Cass went viral. Victim narrative dialed to 11. Live tweeting from a coffee shop. Toxic family weaponizes wealth against marginalized voices. Cancel Harlan. Donations poured in for her legal fund. Ironic as hell since my lawyers were already drafting the fraud suit. But I let it ride, leaking counterdrops to alt weeklies. Her emails, redacted just enough to sting. Public opinion split like a net snag. Team Brinley for the bootstrappers. Justice for Cass for the woke brigade. Controversy? My middle name now. Lang, meanwhile, festered in his gilded cage. I'd kept him on as consultant, puppet with a paycheck, reporting to my board thrice weekly via Zoom from his Napa retreat. He seethed, passive-aggressive barbs and memos. Harlan's quaint, but scalability demands. Evolution. Evolution meant cuts. My vetoes turned them to suggestions, but resentment brewed. One call, voice oily. This charade ends, Harlan. I've got friends in high places, SEC, maybe. I laughed, low and lethal. Friends? Yours are folding chairs. Remember the affair with the intern? Or the offshore in Cayman? Silence, then click. Checkmate, but King's cornered bite back. October brought the gale. EPA raids on Apex's mothballed fleet. My tips, timed for maximum splash. Lang's board ousted him amid the probes. He surfaced in a Vanity Fair profile, whistleblower spin. Corporate intrigue swallowed a family dynasty. Subtle dig, but the mag buried the lead. A sidebar on alleged insider collusion with a female relative.
Cass.
The internet detonated. Threads dissecting our blow-up. Doxers hunting my deets. Trolls flooding the Harlan site with fish puns laced with venom. I hunkered in the loft. Soundview mocking my isolation. Whiskey burning blueprints for the endgame. Mom called, sobbing. She's your sister, Brinley. Blood or not, you can't destroy her.
Destroy?
I'd barely started. But doubt crept, cold as Titapool water. Was this me? The betrayer now, wielding power like Dad's ghost? Sleepless, I pored over old photos. Kid us on the boat, Cass in pigtails, me teaching her knots. Innocence or illusion? The decision crystallized at dawn, horizon bleeding pink. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd offer the olive branch with thorns. Tracked Cass to a Fremont squat house. Activists milling like minnows. Knocked, she answered, wary, hoodie dwarfing her frame. Truce. I said, holding a thermos of Chipino, our ritual. Once. She eyed it like poison. What's the angle? No angle or every angle. Over lukewarm stew on her threadbare couch, I laid it bare. The adoption, the quotas, her pack grift. We were pawns, Cass. Dad's game. But you knew and played along. Tears tracked her cheeks, mascara rivers. I was scared. He said you'd never know, that it made us even. Even. The word hung, absurd. Then uneven it. Testify against Apex. Clean slate for Harlan, co-op model, worker-owned. Your movement gets a megaphone. Her laugh was bitter fog. You dangling redemption? After humiliating me? Humiliation's your brand now. Take the deal, or I drop the hammer, Rico on the lot. Eyes locked, storm to storm. She nodded, once. Capitulation or ploy? Time would tell. November winds howled as the Fed circled. Cass flipped, depositions spilling like bilge. Lang's bribes, Dad's complicity, posthumous but damning. Apex cratered, assets seized. I scooped the remnants for pennies, Harlan absorbing the empire. Mom reconciled in fits. Thanksgiving at my table. Toasts to new beginnings. Her eyes darting like she'd seen the devil unmasked. Cass? She enrolled at UW Extension low-key policy cert, volunteering at food banks. No Harvard, but purpose, maybe. Or penance. Yet the twist lingered, undigested. That DNA file? It hid a codicil, Dad's will. Addendum confessing the adoption as cover for his own bastardy. Mom wasn't barren. She was barren of him. He'd knocked up a deckhand's wife, me the result, hushed to save face. Cass wasn't pure Harlan either, half-sibbed to a stranger. The reversal? We were both swaps, placeholders in a farce of bloodlines. Justice, then, was the illusion shattered. Winter clamped Seattle like a crab trap, relentless gray bleeding into my days as Harlan's helm turned from skirmish to siege. The co-op pivot was my masterstroke, controversial as hell, handing equity to the deckhands who'd bled with me, diluting my control for democracy. Unions cheered. Old-school tycoons sneered in boardroom whispers. Brinley's gone soft, woke fisheries? Soft? Try surgical. It neutered any comeback from Lang's cronies, painted me saintly in the press, while the worker shares vested loyalty ironclad. Profits dipped Q1, but morale soared, fewer walkouts, more innovations like drone-monitored pots cutting bycatch 30%. Cass slotted in uneasy, her activist liaison role a barbed gift. Community outreach, ESG reports laced with her jargon. We circled each other at strategy sessions, me in flannel and facts, her in hoodies and hashtags, tension humming like live wire. One post-meeting, over bad office coffee. "This feel like atonement?" she asked, stirring sugar like regret. I shrugged. "Feels like survival." "You?" Her smile ghosted. "Like borrowing time till the tide turns."
Prophetic, that.
Lang, exiled to consulting purgatory, plotted from the shadows. My intel net, ex-cops on retainer, pinged his moves, frantic calls to VC sharks, whispers of a hostile bid on Blue Horizon remnants. He was rallying the wounded, a consortium of gutted fleets aiming to swallow Harlan whole. Revenge of the repossessed, his leaked manifesto crowed. I countered with charm offensives, lobby days in D.C., schmoozing senators on sustainable bills, my testimony a gut punch. Family betrayal taught me. Empires crumble from within. Let's build ones that last. The hearings were theater gold, me at the dais, spotlit, recounting the sale sans sentiment. My kin traded keels for credentials, blind to the buyer I'd already hooked. Gasps from the gallery. Cass, in the cheap seats, lived tweeting neutrally for once. Backlash brewed, though, op-eds branding me vindictive vigilante, petitions to save small biz from corporate cannibals. Cannibals. Bot. Gala. December's solstice party at the docks was my gauntlet throw. Invited the lot. Crew, Cass' mom, even Lang, under consultant courtesy, bait he couldn't resist. Snow flurried rare and magical, bonfires crackling against the chill, mulled cider steaming with cinnamon bite. I toasted. To Harlan reborn, not revenged. Eyes met across flames. Cass's wary, mom's hopeful, Lang's glacial. He cornered me by the water's edge, wind whipping his topcoat like a cape. Noble speech, Brinley. But nobility's expensive. Folder thrust forward, dossier, thick with evidence, my anonymous EPA tips, traced via sloppy VPN, Shell Corp trails to my oyster slush. Extortion. Obstruction. You'll swim upstream alone. My laugh cut the gusts. Alone? With the feds in your wake? Your bid's DOA, I've majority locked the shares. Bluff half true, I'd been buying out dissenters, but not sealed. His eyes gleamed, fanatic. Not if the truth outs. Your adoption? Dad's scribbles paint you the schemer. Blackmailed him into silence, with your blood secret. Lies, twisted from the codicil, but venomous. Leak it. See how Seattle loves a soap opera. He leaned close, breath scotch-soured. They'll love watching you sink more. The shove came instinctual, palm to chest, not hard, but enough to stagger him into the shallows, boots splashing muck. Crew froze. Cass bolted over, mom gasping. Assault, Lang sputtered, rising like a drowned rat. Security swarmed, my guys, diffusing with apologies and dry towels. But the damage? Etched. Phones captured the splash. By midnight, Harlan Shove trended, clips viral. Ice Queen pushes exec into drink. Me Too or meltdown? Cass confronted me in the green room, voice whip crack. Was that the plan? Martyr him to play victim? I wiped hands on my jeans, adrenaline souring. He baited. I bit. Her stare drilled. We're the same, snapping at shadows Dad cast.
Same.
The word lodged like a bone. I waved her off, but sleep evaded, replaying the splash. Power's edge, razor thin. New Year dawned with warrants, not for me, but Lang. His consortium unraveled in dawn raids, insider trading ties to foreign shells. My counterintel? Gold. He lawyered up, but the narrative flipped. Desperate tycoon targets family biz. Polls swung. My DC bills passed muster. Cass, though, pulled away, resignation letter terse. Can't build on bones, Bryn. Even yours. Mom mediated, tearful lunches at Pike Place. Give her space, honey. Healing's not linear.
Space.
I gave oceans. Spring thawed the ice, but not the chill. Harlan boomed, co-op model mimicked by rivals, me keynote at Seafood Expo. Betrayal's the best teacher. Applause thundered, but backstage, a envelope waited. Cass's handwriting. Truth's a tide. Pulls us under or lifts. Meet at the old boat. Midnight. Bait or bridge. I went armed with ghosts. The wreck bobbed in the bay, moon silvering the rot. She waited on deck, silhouette fragile. Lang's ghosting me, she said, no preamble. Offers to spill, says you'll pay to bury.
Pay.
The cycle spun. And, I prompted, rail cold under palms. Her voice cracked. I turned him. Fed him fakes. Led the feds to his Cayman drop. Twist within twist, my pawn, playing queen? Why tell? Because the real secret? Mom knew. About you, me. Dad's messes. She covered, thinking love mends. But it festers. Festers. Like us. Wind moaned through rigging. So what now? I asked, voice raw. Truce or torpedo? Her hand extended, tentative. Rebuild. Together. No thrones. I took it, bones aching, sisters, swaps, survivors. But Lang's final card dropped at dawn. Manifesto emailed wide. Full codicil. Dad's confession twisted. Brinley orchestrated the adoption hush. Quota frame. Vengeance from birth. Lies amplified by his bots. Storming feeds. Public forked. Believers bang for my scalp. Skeptics shrugging, he said. SEC probed. Crew wavered. Whispers of strikes. Climax crashed in May boardroom. Lang hauled in cuffs, grinning through the glass partition as feds grilled me. She's clean, his lawyer bluffed, but the Cayman log sang, his payoffs to Cass pre-flip. She'd played double, or triple, fed him crumbs to fatten the bust. He cracked under sodium lights. The sister set me up, vengeance packed.
Packed.
The room spun. Cass confessed that night, rain lashing windows. I hated him more. For using me, like Dad. You were collateral. Collateral. Again. Forgiveness? A myth for Hallmark. But utility? I kept her close, lawyer's shield, as the probe cleared. Lang's word against Ox.
Harlan stabilized, co-op voting me chair emeritus.
The reversal hit summer solstice. Mom's attic purge unearthed letters, teen mom to dad, pleading. Keep Brinley. She's ours by choice.
Cass.
The accident wasn't accident. Cass, born from grief-fueled affair post-miscarriage. We'd swapped not just names, but origins, me the anchor, her the driftwood. Blood's illusion, choice the chain. Summer's swelter turned the sound to steam, mirroring the boil in my veins as the dust settled, or tried to. Harlan chugged forward, co-op dividends padding crew pockets, my loft a command center of charts and Chardonnay. But peace? Elusive as a bluefin in trawl. Cass bunkered with me post-confession, her presence a prickly truce. Shared silences over takeout foe, her annotating my reports with equity gaps, me biting retorts on her, virtue signals. Mom visited Sundays, bearing pies and platitudes. Blood don't always thin. Sometimes it thickens. Thickens. To what? Syrup or sludge? Lang rotted in county. Plea bargaining fraud for time served. His consortium a corpse picked clean by vultures. Last job? A jailhouse interview, smirking for the camera. Harlan women? Master manipulators. I was the mark.
Mark.
The irony curdled. Me, once the patsy, now the predator in the mirror. Public appetite waned. Scandal fatigue set in, my name fading to footnote in biz journals. The fishwife's feud. Lessons in legacy. Yet the controversial core gnawed. My decisions, etched in controversy. The shove? Civil suit dismissed as de minimis, but it branded me bully in meme lore. The co-op? Praised by Greens, pilloried by purists as socialist sushi. And the family? We'd forged a fragile pod, Cass pitching sustainability grants, me captaining halls, Mom the quiet keel. But trust? Threadbare as netting. August gale tested it. Rogue wave crippled the flagship, Harlan's hope. Irony's bite, snapping masts off Bainbridge. Crew safe, but hull breached, $800,000 in salvage. Insurance dragged. Whispers of sabotage rippled. Lang's parting gift? Cass and I helicoptered out, her hand gripping mine in the chopper's thrum. This your karma? I squeezed back. Ours. Fix it together.
Nod.
We did. Her crowdfunding viral, Sisters Save the Sea. My war chest covering the rest. Rechristening ceremony drew crowds. Speeches overlapped, hers poetic, mine pragmatic. Waves break us, I said, bottle-cracking hull. But we weld stronger. Fall foliage burned crimson as the twist inverted again. PI's swan song. Dad's offshore, not apex slush, but a trust.
For me.
Seated post-quota scandal, his guilt. $3 mill, appreciating silent, earmarked Brinley's buffer. The sale? Desperation blind to the safety net. Cass found the docks, buried them. Her inheritance play, fearing it'd eclipse her shine. I thought, if you knew, you'd leave us adrift, she admitted, voice small over the revelation's rubble. Leave?
Idean chura tarde.
You buried my out? For what? Pity throne.
Tears real this time.
For family. Flawed as fuck.
Flawed.
The word unlocked something. Laughter. Hysterical. Cathartic. We burned the codicil that night. Pyre on the beach. Flames devouring deceptions. Mom joined. Silent witness. Her pie crust hands folding ours. Winter waned into what passed for spring. Harlan's fleet fat with quota. I stepped back. Consultant queen, mentoring the co-op chair, a ex-decky named Marco with fire in his gut. Cass? She thrived low-key. Adjunct prof at community college. Her thesis, feminist fisheries. Power in the pan. No PhD, but impact, policy tweaks crediting, Sisters Collaborative. Mom downsized to a condo, volunteering at the marina. Her smiles less shadowed. The end? No tidy bow, just the debatable denouement. Did I win? Empire intact, kin mended, kinda. But the cost? Dad's ghost in every gust, Lang's sneer in success headlines, my soul scuffed by the swaps. Readers argue it out. Revenge a salve or scar? Betrayal's blade cuts both ways. Did I heal, or just cauterize? The bay doesn't judge. It just rolls on, salty and unforgiving, mirroring us Americans. Dramatic, divided, damn resilient. As for me, Brinley Harlan, no blood, all bone. I cast lines daily, waiting for the next tug. Life's no fairy tale. It's the haul, heavy and haphazard. And, in that uncertainty, freedom, finally.